Yo, what's up, everybody? If anybody's watching this, let us know if you can hear us. Appreciate that. But we're just gonna go ahead and get started. We got kind of a random little time episode 3 here of the podcast that we like to call the Pop Report. It's me, Drew, and my brother Alex. Alex, talk to the people, see if they can hear you.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm coming in clearly.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the pod today. There's a lot going on in the world of sports. We got the playoffs coming for NBA. We got MLB in full swing. We got an NFL draft coming up, and then lots going on in the card market. So I'm excited to get into it. Let's do it.
Go. Here, Alex, move a little bit to the center yourself, moving a little bit to your left, maybe. Wait, look on the stream. Are you in the stream?
Hasn't showed up yet.
Here, see if you can center yourself a little bit. What's up, Mr. Optimistic? Welcome to the chat. Okay, that's better.
Boom. Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. Cool. All right. So episode 3. Whoa. Today we'll just go ahead and get started and just kind of a little discussion of what we've been up to recently with regards to cards and stuff like that, and just kind of the current landscape. First off, Alex, you want to talk about your last Friday card hunting success or your vibes there, because we haven't talked since then for the podcast.
So this was my third week now, Friday morning, of trying to go to Target ever since they changed to the system where they're restocking overnight on Thursday and then opening on Friday. The one that I've been going to opens at 7. And the first 2 times that I got there, I arrived at 6. So an hour early, and both times there was already a pretty good line. But both times I was probably within, the top 30 or so people to get in line, and was able to get some pretty fire, stuff at the time, like DONRUSS basketball, optics football, things of that nature. This most previous Friday, when I went even earlier. And I did this because the weekend before I'd seen Prism, and I wanted to have a chance at getting some of that, but I didn't the week before.
Yeah.
So got there at like around 5:30, so an hour and a half earlier. And I was in the same exact spot in line as I was the time before that I showed up an hour early. So looks like demand is even picking up, or more and more people are finding out about the opening on Friday morning. And I think a lot more people are committed to camping overnight and getting there super early, because there's a lot coming out right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I also noticed in line there's a lot of people that are there for Pokemon. So it's a really mixed crowd. There's just a lot going on, I guess, at Target.
Yeah. So I was honestly surprised that you were able to get Optic Fat Pack, because I feel like Optic is kind of just like done now. So that's pretty crazy, honestly.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I think I said it last time I got Optic. I thought it was going to be the last time that I saw it.
Yeah.
But then maybe they just had leftover Fat Packs or something, because it didn't look like they had done like a full restock on it. But not sure.
Along with Alex's recent in-person card hunting success, I've actually had some online success for Target's website. They actually, believe it or not, I know they sell super fast, but it's possible to get like retail cards off of Target, especially if you're in a Discord, what they call cook groups. Basically what that is, I'm in one. It's called Card Brokers, and what kind of is interesting about Card Brokers, just kind of a little backstory. I think it started last year by someone, I think like 18 years old. I think he's only like 18 or something. His name is like Z-Med, and he's just like been into cards for the longest, and so he started this cook group. My history could be kind of off, but he started this cook group. This Discord cook group, and basically there's staff of people that like work for it and stuff like that, and they have monitors where they monitor the Target website. So as soon as something goes live, they send out the link to the people in the cook group, and you get like a notification and stuff like that. And a lot of people, like a lot of like old heads in the hobby, will probably consider that like, oh, like those are bots. Stop using your bots. But it's just kind of like, I personally don't have a bot to get things off of Target or anything. I'm paying $45 a month for for the chance to even get a notification that something is going live. Um, but honestly, yeah, props to card brokers. Like that's kind of a pretty cool business, little business model. And they also give advice on like cards to invest in and stuff like that. It's pretty secretive. You're not supposed to share the information that you receive within that cook group within card brokers. But if you want to like buy retail product online, I would definitely suggest looking into like getting into like a Discord if possible. It's been worth the $45 a month so far. Um, so yeah, that's something that I've been up to. I've been able to get Prism, 6 blasters of Prism, um, 3 for myself, and then I ordered 3 to my home address, so Alex can open a blaster of that. Also got some Select coming in. Um, and we'll talk a little bit about Select too, because I know we haven't talked too much about that on the podcast.
Yeah, I'd say also just to add to that, it definitely became like easily worth it once they started helping like get the drops of the retail releases.
Yeah.
But they definitely, I'd say the like investment advice per se that they put on there has definitely been good stuff.
Yeah.
Like worth acting on. Like even like looking back at some of the old ones that they posted, you look and you're like, oh dang, I should have listened to what they said on the Discord.
And it's another thing. It's another thing where it's like if we had a ton, like they post some like investment suggestions of cards that are like $1,000, like, and that actually end up being really profitable. But if you have like a lot of money and trying to ball, then also getting in something like that is interesting because there's a lot of people who know cards really well, know the trends of which cards like will go up and stuff like that. So,
right.
But yeah, let's shift over to talk a little bit about something that we're gonna be getting the chance to see soon, and that's Select football. A lot of people are already like opening it up. I personally have watched a lot of pack openings on it already, and I have some thoughts. But what do you think of Select football from what you've seen? Have you watched any like pack openings or?
Yeah, I've watched a few, and I feel like I almost had to watch some of them to understand the Select product.
It's
I feel
confusing.
It's one of the more, and even now, like I can't just tell probably based off of the look of the card exactly what like base level that it is.
Yeah.
But I can say that they all look pretty sick.
Yeah.
Like all the different base levels, and it's kind of fun that they have different ones that are of different like rarities and stuff like that. So I saw a retail pack opening, and maybe it was just a video I saw, but this guy opened like a blaster box and a fatback or something like that, and it was like he got major or like lots of hits, like just within a few cards.
Yeah.
So that could just be one example, but I'm like inclined to think that we're gonna open something big if we're able to, or when we get those Select blasters.
Yeah, for sure. The cards look sick. I think it's probably the last retail product for football of the year. I'm assuming. I could be wrong. But one of the things that I think is kind of interesting from the pack openings I've seen is when you open like a blaster box or a fat pack, you're getting a ton of rookies. Like people get a lot of rookies, and there's 3 variations, or like more than 3 at this point. I don't even know because there's like die cuts and stuff like that. There's multiple variations of each rookie. And I kind of wonder, like, all these versions of the rookie card in Select, like, will that hurt the value? I don't know. Just the fact seeing people pull so many rookies, it kind of reminds me of a product. I don't think you've opened it, but I've opened it. It's called Chronicles. And Chronicles, it's basically like, it's literally 90% rookie cards that you get, just different variations, different brands of rookie cards within Chronicles. So I'm just wondering, like, all of these rookie cards, is that going to make the base Select rookie card a little bit less valuable than like an optic or a prism.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Like it's I wonder if, because there's like 3 different levels, if the demand will be, split between those 3.
Yeah.
So like, prism, there's just one, and then having 3 different options, will that cause each of them to be worth less?
Yeah.
I would say more likely though. Mm-hmm. Wait, first of all, are all of the different base like levels, are they like the chances of pulling them all the same, are some more rare?
No, there's like tiers. The field level is the most rare, is the most rare of them all. But then also within those tiers, you get different color variations. You can get a silver field level, you can get a red field level, and it's just like, it's crazy how many different variations that there are in Select. And when it was like a hobby exclusive, I think that kind of made it seem more like, okay, like those are all released. But now that everyone's pulling a base Justin Herbert or I don't know, hopefully we can pull that if we open it up. But I'm just curious to see what happens with all of these different variations in Select.
Yeah. But I would say whatever the most basic variation, or the one that's most common, that probably, like, I would guess that won't be super high demand. Yeah. Because there's the other like higher demand ones out there. I don't know about the middle one, but then I would guess that the most rare one will probably be worth more than, say, like the equivalent of like a base like PSA 10. I mean, maybe not directly, but I mean, relative to like the value if there was only one.
Yeah. Look wise, what do you prefer, Select, Prism, or Optic? Would you say?
Honestly, lately I would say Select. Yeah. I think I've been feeling the most. As like the collector side of me, I like the cards that look the most like a piece of art or something along those lines, and I think Select does the best job of that. Yeah. Optic and Prism are both very, like, Optic is more like the classic, the vibes to the classic card, right? Like the modern classic card. Mm-hmm. And then Prism, I think of like, maybe this is just because of all the card talk, but I think of it as like an investment chip almost, rather than like a beautiful card, though they're cool in their own way too. Yeah. But like, if I were a collector, like that's the type that you would want to hold on to long term, put up somewhere, Yeah.
I will say, like, after opening this year's Prism, if you guys haven't watched the video, go ahead and watch my pack opening for this year's Prism. And Alex is going to do one too, because he's got a Prism coming as well.
Let's go.
After opening this year's Prism, I'm kind of down on it, honestly. Like, the cards, they're like, some of them are so horribly centered. It just, like, there's a lot of quality control issues with Prism, I think. And this year's design of Prism, it's so easy to like tell if it's like off-centered or something like that. Whereas like something like Select, there's so much going on. I don't know if it's off-centered. Like this year's Prism, it's like so obvious, like when it's off-centered. And I don't know. I just opening, even though we didn't have success when we did it, I really liked opening Optic football. Like, I feel like the cards look really, really clean, and the color parallels look dope, and I'm excited to see Select in person as well. As far as where I would rank them, I'm gonna go at number 1, Optic. Number 2 would have been Prism for me, but I'm switching. I'm going number 2, Select. I'm going number 2, Select, and number 3, Prism. Let us know in the chat, guys, if you guys prefer Prism, Select, or Optic, and why. But they're all top tier cards at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
So, conspiracy theory with Prism and all the off centering of the cards. Do you think that part of it is a play to make the PSA 10 and like the high quality cards still worth a ton of money? Yeah. So that they can drive people to the hobby with like the big sales. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's so real.
I feel like it's like tops, like if you look at baseball cards, it's like almost 90% of, certain ones, like it seems like almost 90% of them get like a PSA 10.
They all look.
And that makes the PSA 10 itself like less like coveted, I would say. So that's just conspiracy theory. No evidence whatsoever.
No, I think actually a lot of people think that. Like, I feel like a lot of people believe that. It's possible. It's possible, but at the same time, it's just so annoying when they're like so like just from a visual standpoint, it's annoying.
Yeah, if you're to hit that big card and
Yeah.
then it's off center, it's like, yeah,
Yes.
it's a tease.
Yeah. And honestly, if you want to sell it too, like if you put it on eBay, people can tell that it's off-centered, like, and it makes it harder to
Yeah,
sell.
you'd rather have like a dinged corner or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Exactly. So those are our thoughts on this year's Select Prism. We should also be getting Select basketball, I believe. Why wouldn't we if we got Select football this year? So that would be pretty sick, honestly, I think.
Yeah. I think the Select football is going to be an especially good one because I'm still really high on the 2020 draft class.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the first retail release too. So I feel like those factors will make that a big one. Yeah. I feel like for basketball, I'm not as high on the current rookie class for basketball.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like the LaMelo hunt right now, but
yeah,
we'll see.
I feel that. I agree, honestly. Okay, so another thing that we've kind of been up to recently is we've been considering buying some playoff basketball players that we think are kind of underrated. We got a $15 eBay coupon, so we've been looking to use that somehow. So we're looking at basketball right now. You listened to Sports Card Nonsense, and they suggested maybe someone like Tyler Hero. I think that's a pretty good option. What do you think?
So I think it's a good option, and I would say it's a good option because it's not super high risk because his prices are already super low. I feel like people, relative to where he was when he had the playoff run, his prices are kind of in the basement. So even if the theory of him like coming alive around playoff time and getting a lot of press like doesn't really play out, I feel like you're probably not going to have lost a ton, right? Because he's already in the basement. So I feel like it's worth looking into while it's low. And the Heat are one of those teams that are kind of getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
And we saw it last year. This is exactly kind of what happened. They came out of nowhere right before the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we're all of a sudden a favorite in the playoffs. And that's kind of starting to happen this year. So I'd say it's more of like a bet on the Heat. And you would think if the Heat came back, he would be one of the reasons.
Yeah.
And I feel like people like him. So if he gets TV time, like people are going to remember that he's cool. And
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Like, tell me why I think the fact that like he's like a famous player makes it have more potential to like boom, like the card. Like the fact that there's like a song named after him. You know what I mean? The fact that he's like a famous player, it definitely makes like it helps. It will help.
Exactly. Like I could see a moment he makes like a game-winning shot, and then it's partying with like Jack Harlow the night after or something like that. Yeah.
Are there any other players that you think kind of fall into that category that you kind of want to take a look at?
So right now, the players that I'm looking at are the players that might be in the play-in game.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking them as like potential flips if they have a big play-in game moment.
Yeah.
And on the West side or the Western Conference, the Warriors, right? Yeah. So I would say it's too late probably to get into Steph Curry because he's been just like so on fire lately that even if he has a big moment in the play-in game, his prices probably aren't going to go up. But somebody like Ja Morant right now who has been a little bit on the low side and I feel like has had a couple tough games and people are like overreacting and he's trending a little bit low.
Yeah.
I could totally see him having like a big matchup against the Warriors, like him versus Steph and him going point for point and kind of like how Luka when in that series against the Clippers last year and he just was super clutch and his prices just skyrocket. I could see that happening to somebody like Ja Morant in the West in kind of that like play-in game scenario. And then I would also say going to the Eastern Conference, same idea with the playing game. The team that looks like they're on fire right now is the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
So somebody like a Westbrook, Bradley Beal, who don't get a lot of love over there because they've been losing for so long.
Yeah.
Could be a good, buy and flip when they have potentially big early playoff moments. Like I don't see them making deep runs into the playoffs, but I feel like during the play-in games, they'll be like, all the attention will be on those like 7 through 10
Yeah.
teams, and they'll be getting a lot of TV time and love and stuff.
Yeah, the fact that the play-in, it's like a literal tournament, I think that would be kind of fun, and I feel like it'll have a lot of hype. Some players that I was just kind of like randomly popped in my head was like for the Mavericks, like maybe like Kristaps or something, because they're supposed to be, they're like the 7th seed, so they're scheduled to be in the play-in tournament, but I think that they'll make the playoffs. And then you mentioned like Jordan Clarkson at one point, I think, like over text. A lot of people have been talking about him. I
think that's a good one because he's like kind of clutch. Yeah. So I definitely see him like at some point in the playoffs making a clutch shot. Yeah. Where like if you have his card, it probably will peak.
Yeah. Some other that I kind of thought about was like I've been saying DeAndre Hunter for the Hawks just because he's been injured for the last month, and they keep saying each game like, oh, he's going to come back, oh, he'll be back next game, and they just keep pushing it back, and I just think once he's back, he could be pretty good. And then also a player that just returned, Jaren Jackson for the Grizzlies, he could be interesting to look at. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of potential with upcoming playoff team players.
I like the DeAndre Hunter because Atlanta's like low key like in the 4th seed in the playoffs. Yeah, and I feel like they haven't even like kicked it into gear. Like they could surprise some people. Yeah, and he could be the reason why because he hasn't even been playing. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah. And then hopefully we hope Kuzma we hope Kuzma becomes good, but yeah, so that's some players that we're kind of looking at. Next, we'll just talk about, before we get into our segment called Alex, we're going to call it Alex Reacts. Before we get into that segment, you may have touched on this earlier, what's your game plan for card hunting this week? Like, what time do you think you're going? What are you hoping to find? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so this time I'm cutting out the trip to McDonald's for breakfast on the way to save me an extra, 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to try to get there. My girlfriend's next to me, and she's mad at what time I'm going to say right now. But I'm probably going to wake up before 5 a.m. and try to get there as soon as I can. Yeah. Maybe like grab a big cup of coffee, snack, and bring it with me.
Yeah. I wonder if people are already there.
I feel like so it's 4:30 the day before. There might be one or two people there already.
That's honestly insane. There's no way that this lasts. Target is not going to want people to camp at their stores like this.
Yeah. But I will say, as compared to their previous system, this is like smooth and orderly, and even though it sucks to get up super early to try to get there, it's like at least I know I'll get something, right? Like I might not get Prism or Select. I mean, hopefully I will. That's why I'm getting there early. Yeah. But, at least we'll get something, and then, you can go check another Target that morning, but then after that, you don't have to worry about it. They're not going to restock anywhere else. So I feel like even though Target, people are camping and stuff like that, at least they're only doing it one day a week.
Yeah, true.
And instead of like every day.
That's
like,
so true.
Fiends.
Yeah. As far as me, I think I may go tomorrow morning. I'm still not like 100% sure because I have class at like 9:30, but I think I'm gonna try to go tomorrow morning. But there's like 4 different Targets near me that all do or like 3 that all do the same 8 a.m. system. So I just don't really know which one to go to. One of them, I think they have a limit of only one thing per customer. So
yikes.
Maybe not that one.
Well, I mean, you could say that could be better in a sense. Yeah. Because like you might get one more fire thing, but.
And then another one of them, I've literally never seen sports cards there before. I've only seen Pokemon cards, but they have a sign that says sports cards will be available 8 a.m. I've literally never seen sports cards there, so I'm kind of like hesitant, like they'll only have Pokemon or something. And then another one, It's regular, and I think it's two per customer. So maybe that one. I don't know, but probably.
Good luck.
Yeah.
For me, the one that I go to opens at 7, but all the other ones in the area open at 8. So I'm usually able to kind of hit up 2.
Yeah.
The second one, I'm definitely not even one of like the first ones.
Yeah.
But
getting some scraps, but getting some good.
If you have any that open at 7, check it out.
That's true. Actually.
Yeah.
All right. So for the next segment, or first segment, I don't know, of this, we're gonna have this. It's called Alex Reacts.
All right.
Basically, I have 2 baseball players, 2 basketball players. I didn't do, or actually, maybe I did 1 football. I'm not sure. And I'm gonna tell you their name, and then you kind of just give me your thoughts. That's
simple.
Good. With this podcast, I was kind of thinking about it. I think it's kind of a cool dynamic because I feel like I know more about like cards and the different brands and stuff, but you know more about sports probably. You know what I mean? And so like having both of our perspectives, I feel like it's kind of dope. I was thinking
we bring different things to the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, so let's get started with Alex Reacts. Here we go. Okay, so we have basketball, baseball, football. Okay, 2 basketball, 2 baseball, 1 football. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
We'll kind of switch sport to sport. First, we'll start with someone whose name will probably be kind of trending, or like more trending soon. We're gonna go basketball. Thoughts on Anthony Davis.
Ooh.
He's coming back from injury just right now, right?
Yeah, I think he's coming back today.
Okay.
So he should be playing tonight. So this is good timing.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, from a player perspective, I think he's like a future Hall of Famer. He already has a championship, and then he's kind of well set up with the Lakers right now to potentially win multiple championships, especially if he stays there, finds a long-term deal, and like takes over after LeBron. So I think he's going to be one of those like kind of staples for the NBA, for this, era.
Yeah.
As far as card market goes, I feel like
he's been just, if you don't have the stream pulled up, but I have a picture. His graph has been like pretty flat for the past month, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do you think maybe it will go up because he's playing again? I don't know, but.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if just over the last couple of days, it probably has like had a little bit of a run up, just because there's been news that he's finally coming back, and usually there's a little pickup with that. Looking at that chart, though, the fact that he hasn't peaked up a lot in recent times makes me think that he's like a decent buy from a card perspective, because I mean, assuming him and LeBron get healthy, there's no way they're not at least going like 7 games in the Western Conference Finals, like at the least, right, kind of thing. So I feel like if you were to buy somewhere now in this realm, it'll only go up for the next month or 2 there. And then I also think he's a good long-term person as well, because
he's a Laker.
I think he's a Laker, and then like we see what happens with Kobe and now LeBron, that he's with the Lakers, Magic Johnson, like a lot of the Lakers greats really have good kind of staying power in the hobby. So I don't see, unless he leaves or something like that, which totally could happen, but usually if you win championships with the Lakers like appreciate you for life kind of thing. And he'll probably win more championships. And I feel like when we're looking at long-term legacies, that's kind of the thing that people remember the most.
So that's Anthony Davis. This last month, as you could see by the graph, guys, it's kind of just been kind of flat, but he's interesting because he'll be in the playoffs. He's a great player, so just one that I kind of wanted to see your thoughts. Okay, this next one will go baseball, and this is a baseball player. Guys, if you're in the chat and you don't know, I don't watch baseball. Like, I literally don't know anything about baseball. But this is a baseball player that I see a lot of people in the card market talking about. I've never really heard of him. Hopefully you've heard of him. I don't know. We'll see. Do you know Eloy Jimenez?
I do know Eloy.
Okay, what's the deal with him? Tell me a little bit about him if you know anything. Just react to his existence.
So Eloy is an outfielder, I believe, for the White Sox. and he is like a power hitter. Like he's a really good player, like kind of like a streaky like power guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he started off really well in previous seasons. I think what's his rookie year, like 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like good start to his career.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of hype for him going into this year.
Mm-hmm.
But then he got injured. So he's been injured since the beginning of the season at this point. So he's kind of like, if we're looking at his price.
Yeah, it looks like he got injured. Yeah, that's so weird.
It's kind of going into slumber mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people are, if you're not a long-term holder, right, you probably sold off or are going to be selling off at this point in time. So again, this is somebody like, I don't know a whole lot about him. I haven't watched him play a lot, so I wouldn't have a super strong conviction in telling you to like buy right now. But you can see that because he's like kind of mid-injury right now, kind of a little bit forgotten. But he did have a lot of hype before. There's no reason he couldn't have a lot of hype again. So if you're betting on that being the case, now it could look like a good low buying opportunity. But I don't know enough about him, and he's definitely not like a sure thing, like superstar. But he has a lot of power. He has a lot of potential. People are high on him, and the only reason he's down right now is probably because he's out of sight. Out of sight, out of mind.
Speaking on like baseball injuries, did Fernando Tatis? He was injured and he just came back.
Yeah, so he was injured, and it kind of like is apparent that he has some like kind of structural damage in his. One of his shoulders, and so like it like popped out on one of his swings, and he swings like with like a lot of violence, so it's like scary that it might happen again. And so he sat out for a while, but instead of getting surgery, he decided to kind of let it heal a little bit and then come back and continue playing, which he is able to do. I think right in his first game back, it was against the Dodgers, he hit a home run, so clearly he's at least like okay. He didn't do that great the rest of the series, so I feel like you want to keep an eye on him. There's potential he like might be playing injured, which you can usually do, but over the long run, that causes your performance to suffer a little bit. So kind of monitoring his health. So I would say there's potential that people might be getting like a little skittish on him as like an investment. But he still has that flair, that personality, and I bet he'll be able to. It might be something we're not talking about at all in a couple of weeks once we forget about it.
All right. Cool. All right. So we've talked Anthony Davis, Eloy, and should we do another baseball, basketball, or football?
Let's close it out and do a football.
We'll close it out with football?
Yeah.
Football right now?
Each sport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe Burrow. A lot of people since he didn't play last season, a lot of people are going to be considered this next year, like his rookie vibes, kind of. I would assume, and I think that kind of will make his prices kind of high. I don't know. What do you think of Joe Burrow, and compare him from which obviously you can't really say too much about him because he hasn't really played too much, but compared to Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, like where does he fit in the rank of good, really, really young quarterbacks?
Yeah, so I'll get to that ranking in a second. It's just interesting because rewind back to like a year ago before the start of the 2020 season, he was kind of by far the number one quarterback, way above Herbert, way above Tua, way above Hurts, etc. And when the season started in the first few games, he was living up to the hype. Like he didn't like fall short of expectations. But what quickly became apparent was that his team sucked. And then with a quarterback, it's really important that you have a good offensive line to literally protect you. And their offensive line was kind of horrible, and it became like when is he going to get injured at this point? And then of course he did have like a pretty bad injury. And then since then, everything kind of went into like slumber mode about him. His team was irrelevant, etc. So I'm sure as the season kind of leads up to the next season comes up, he's going to start getting hyped up again.
Card wise, I would say though. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say card wise, I would assume like his hype will just kind of like follow the hype of football cards, since
Yeah.
the season's gonna approach and stuff.
Yeah, and so I would put him from like a quarterback talent level on the same level as Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, probably. Herbert, I think, has the stronger like infrastructure, like team about him. So I feel like he'd be the most likely to have like another good season. I feel like for Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he's a huge number one pick, but number one pick goes to the team that was the worst the year before, right? So like he's probably going to be on Jacksonville, and they're probably not going to be very good. So I think it actually is really going to depend on how this draft goes and what Cincinnati does to make their team better around Burrow. You know what I mean? So they might take like an offensive lineman in the first round or something like that to try to protect Burrow. And if they show they're committed to protecting him and building their offense around him, like I feel like he'll have a better year than at least Lawrence. But I still like Herbert because he's proven talent, and then he's kind of in a team that's usually competitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much, like, since I haven't followed football like that much, like, I see Trevor Lawrence has like a lot of hype. What was Burrow's hype in compared? Like, was it kind of similar or more or less? What do you think?
I would honestly say it was very similar, and it might have been. Yeah, I think it would have been higher, except for that he shared the spotlight with Tua, like kind of coming out there, like they were like kind of both really hyped quarterbacks. Where I feel like Trevor Lawrence, like everybody would say like he's tier one, and then Zach Wilson, Justin or Fields, and some of those guys are more like tier two, below him. So he shared some of the love, but people were as confident that he was going to be like a solid NFL quarterback as they are with Lawrence, because he had just won the national championship with LSU, so he had like just led his team to the championship, like was at the top of the hill, top of the game, and then transitioned over to the NFL. So Trevor Lawrence wasn't trending quite as high at Clemson, at the end of his time, because they didn't win his last year. But it's very similar, very comparable.
Yeah. Okay, we only have time. We're going to combine these last two because they're both like the hottest players in their sport right now. For baseball, Acuna, and for basketball, Curry. Thoughts on both? Only got a few minutes before we got to sign off, but yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So Acuna is off to a really good start this year. He had a small injury issue, but he's already back now. I was looking at one on TV, some stats flashed across that over the last 162 games, which is, one full baseball season. He has over 50 home runs and over 40 stolen bases. So it's like that power speed combo. And he's the only person to do that in a 162 game stretch since young Barry Bonds. And that's it. Right. And so Barry Bonds is obviously his legacy is kind of clouded now with all the steroid use stuff, but he was like an amazing baseball talent at that time. So the fact that Acuna Jr. is in a class with a young Barry Bonds really bodes well for his future. So even though he's hot and is kind of spiking, I feel like he's kind of just rising to the level that he should be at relative to, say, a Soto and Tatis. Right, I feel like those two were a little bit kind of above him, and he should be in that tier. And he's kind of just now, price-wise, starting to like potentially even out with them.
Yeah.
But I would put him right in that tier as a solid long-term buy, solid short-term buy, just because of just such high-quality play on the field. Yeah. And then Curry. Yeah, Curry's been on fire lately. Had like a string of games over 30 points that was just snapped, and he looks as good as I've ever seen him look when I watch him play. But I would say I don't think they're gonna do much this year outside of the like play-in game.
Yeah.
next year they could be
How sick would it be if
competitive.
they did though? That'd be sick.
What's that?
How sick would it be if they did? Like Curry's like one of those players like he could get really hot. I feel like that'd be so sick if he just went off and they.
I just can't see a team with like Jordan Poole and Javon Looney and Wiggins like getting very far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Curry's like one of those people though that's like a LeBron or something where there will always be demand for Curry.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, if you have Curry cards, like now is a good time to sell.
Yeah.
But it's also, you know, he's somebody that I'd be comfortable with, you know, holding on to for a long time, and selling when you have to, kind of thing, because there's always going to be a demand out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our Alex React segment. We had some big.
That chart for Steph Curry is like smooth.
Yeah, I think it's probably just because like everyone knows how good he like. There's no surprises when he's dropping 30 point, or stuff like that. So I feel like that's probably why. I feel like what would raise it is like if he did something in the playoffs and got past the play-ins and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see. And that's pretty much all we have in store for this week's episode of the Pop Report. It was kind of a random time and kind of just a chill one today. Thank you guys so much if you were in the chat. It only looks like we have one viewer right now, and I think it's me.
And better than zero.
Better than zero. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Alex, any last words before we sign off here, or anything you want to talk about?
I'd say if you're going card hunting on a Friday morning, good luck.
Good luck to you.
But don't get there before me.
Yeah.
Come after 5:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But good luck out there. Let us know what success you have, and look forward to putting out more videos and more podcasts in the future.
Mm-hmm. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'll put up the intro screen, and then I'll give 2 minutes if there's anybody in the chat that wants to leave a question. Leave a question. We'll come back on and answer it for 1 more minute. We're going to try to hop off by 5, but Alex, does that sound okay?
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys. Drop a question if you have one, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes to completely sign off. All right. Again, guys, leave a question if you have a question. We just got one question here to answer before we sign off. Are you guys getting NBA Crown Royale, hoping to get a kaboom? Alex, did you see my video on that, the Crown Royale?
I did, but give us the little refresher.
It's the one where their die cut shaped like crowns is like the most popular.
Oh, yeah.
And there's also a famous insert set called Kaboom, which is like what Mr. Optimistic is talking about. I feel like Crown Royale didn't. We have some old cards that are shaped like crowns. I feel like I wonder if that's.
I have it in the other room, but I have like a probably early 2000 Derek Jeter. Pacific, it was like Pacific Crown Royale. Like maybe it was owned by a different company at that point in time before Panini, I think.
Yeah. But Mr. Optimistic, great question. Thank you for asking a question in the comment section below. Will we be getting it? Probably not, honestly, because it's hobby only. From what I understand, the kabooms. Don't get me wrong, the kabooms are fire. Those are some of the coolest inserts. The only time that I really have tried to get a kaboom was Absolute Football. Alex, you remember Absolute Football when we opened that up?
Yeah.
Kaboom was like the big thing that you could get out of the card.
Yeah,
was like
we didn't get any.
We didn't get any. They're super rare. Good luck to you, Mr. Optimistic. As far as like hobby box, the only hobby box that I kind of would want to try to get in the future is for basketball would be Court Kings, just because I think the cards look sick. They're just my favorite. But Crown Royale I think is pretty dope. But will I be going after it? No, probably not. Alex, same for you, right?
Same. I will say that I do like it from a collector side of things, like the die cut cards, just because I think they like look cool to like get people's attention. Yeah. And you're guaranteed to get some probably really cool die cuts with the Crown Royale series. So if you're like into the like cards that you're gonna get, and maybe you like the rookie class or something along those lines, might be more worth it. But I think I'm in agreement with you. I like what was the name of the other set that you're going to be
Court Kings.
Court Kings. I'm ready. If I'm going to be spending a little bit of money on a hobby box, right now I'm looking at Court Kings. Yeah. But that's just us. So.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, that was the only question that we got. So thank you to Mr. Optimistic for being active in the chat. Thank you for watching the stream. I appreciate that. And this is going to be it for us. We're going to sign off. Thank you guys so much for watching the Pop Report. Subscribe if you're watching this on replay. Drop a like. And